Welcome to this focused tutorial on how to create health bars with different systems with free visual game engine Gdevelop. Those who follow our videos with some regularity already know that we are mainly covering long series of videos to build complete games, but in the middle, we can cover specific elements with one-time videos to explain a mechanic or a specific feature and how it can be implemented. In this case, we are going to cover the different possibilities to implement health bars with Gdevelop. On a first thought, it could be seen as something of little importance, but in reality, it can have a major impact on the game as it is one of the main feedbacks that the player can receive. Let's start with the tutorial. To implement the system, we need some art assets that can be used for this purpose. To implement the health bar, we need some art assets that can be used for this purpose. Since we are going to illustrate 3 different ways that falls under 2 different systems, we have found 2 different sprite sheets to be used and that we will put the links into the description of this video. So, let's start with the first method. In this system, we have different animations for different states of the life level. So for example, if we have a health bar with 5 levels and we have 10 levels of life, then we will need to adjust the ratio of the sprites to half of the actual impact on the life level. In our case, we have found a life bar that has 8 different frames for 8 different life status. Let's import them as animations. For that, let's create a new object sprite and name it health bar. Add 8 new animations and start to load them into the animation slots from the location where you downloaded them. For animation 0, we will use the sprite life bar animation 9 that is associated with the life bar empty. Then for animation 1, we will use the sprite life bar animation 8 that is associated with the life bar having 1 remaining level. Continue up to animation number 8. If you have recognized the pattern, you can see that in animation number 8 we will have the full life level, so this means that we can use the life number of the character as an index into the health bar. But before making the association, let's finish adjusting the user interface. Drag the health bar into the scene view and scale it up to have the correct size associated with your game interface. Set the layer to GUI to make sure the health bar will be above all the other art assets on your game. To place it correctly in the game interface, let's hide the other layers in the layer manager. In our case, we are placing the health bar right above the score of the game. Reactivate the layers and run the game. You can see that by default we have an empty life health bar. But the important thing is that due to the way layers are designed in Gdevelop, it is already following our player when he moves. But it doesn't serve our purpose of showing the life of the player. For that, we need to go to the scene events and look for the group called interface. You can see that there is already the scoring system being refreshed every frame. Below it, add a new event, and in the action associated with the health bar choose the action change animation. In the modification sign field selected the set to function, and in the value type physic player variable life. This will plug the animation of our health bar directly with the life level that the player currently has. So, for example that the player has 5 levels of life. The system will choose animation 5 that is associated with the character having 5 units of life left. Before running the game, and to make the calculation simpler, let's edit the physic player object variables and set the life to 8 to have a relation 1-to-1 with the health bar. Let's run the game and see what happens. So, as soon as we run the game, you can see that the health bar fills up to the maximum associated with the maximum life. We have not implemented the damage yet, but let's see how the system behaves. As soon as the player touches the skeleton enemy, he dies automatically. This is because, in the previous video, we were killing the player on the first touch and the only system that was decreasing slowly the life, was the skeleton enemy's axe. So, let's open the external events and modify how life is driven away from the player. Let's start the simple enemies. Look for the group in enemies management, where the player is set to dead. Add a new sub-event. For the condition, let's check that the value of the physic player life is bigger than 0, which means that the player is not yet dead. Add a new trigger once condition. In the action, decrease the value of physic placer life by 1. From the parent event, let's cut the action where the player dead is set to 1. We want it to run as soon as the player's life has reached 0. Let's go to the scene events and add a new event at the end of the group checkpoint and player death. In the condition, check if the player's life is below or equal to 0. If this is the case, then paste the recently cut event where the player is set to 1. Let's replicate the same modifications of the other animated enemy external events. If we run the game, we can see that the health bar starts to fall as soon as receiving attacks from the enemies. As soon as life reaches 0, it is reinitiated, but with an empty health bar. This is because we have not modified the respawn function where the player is reinitialized to a life of 10. Change life variable value from 10 to 8. Let's save the code to a new file. And let's now try to implement the health bar using frames in the animation, rather than different animations. For that, double-click on the health bar object and delete all the animations. Create a new animation and add a new frame. Select all the frames associated with the health bar and then sort them as to be going from the empty bar up to the full-filled one. Everything that we have done up to now can be used. We only need to make a small modification in the scene events. In the interface group, modify the function from change animation to current frame. Let's run the game. And everything is running correctly. We have a life bar that shows exactly our life level. Let's see now how to implement the third system. In this system, we associate the life level of the character with the dimension of the sprite that shows the life level. So as the character is losing life, we will size down the sprite. These types of systems are usually divided into parts, one that defines the frame for the health bar, and then the health bar that reflects the life of the character. To implement this new system, we need another set of assets that are downloaded as hearts. So, let's go to the scene view. Double-click on the health bar object and delete all the animations. Click the Add button. Look inside the Hearts folder. Inside of it, you will find the health bar decoration. Select it. Rename the object to the Health UI and adjust its position on the screen. Let's add a new sprite object and name it Health Bar. Add a new animation and look inside the same previous folder, for the health bar. Drag it to the scene view and set it to be on the layer GUI. Place it on top of the object Health UI and adjust the size and position to fit correctly on the frame. Let's go the scene events and in the same interface group used in the previous cases. Double-click the action associated with modifying the health bar. Choose as an action scale on x-axis. In the value field, set it to be the physic player life divided by 3. Your value may be different depending on the sprite that you may be using. Try different ratios until you find a value that works for your health bar. Let's go to the scene view and let's finish adjusting the two sprites the best we can to make them look being just one. Let's run the game. And we can see that this new system is working as well as the two previous seen in this video. Which one do you prefer? Let us know in the comments. Also, what would you like to see next in these focus tutorials? Again, we would like to thank you all for the way the community has been growing fast over the last weeks. We hope that our videos are giving you the answers that you are looking for, and if not, don't hesitate in giving us your feedback. This channel only exists for its audience. We hope that you have liked this video. If it has been the case, consider subscribing, giving a like, and clicking on the notification button. If you have any questions, problems, or comments, don't hesitate in putting a comment and we will answer as fast as we could. See you in the next video, game developers.